When the sun and moon align 18 degrees Taurus, they form part of a 5-planet stellium in the sign of Taurus, creating a huge emphasis of energy there, highlighting Taurus themes. We have Venus, the ruling planet for the Taurus New Moon. My outfit is very Venus inspired. I'm wearing green, a color I associate with Earth and with Taurus energy. Obviously I have to match my gold with my gold. I've got the leaf though. I usually wear this headband in the fall because it makes me think more of autumn and the falling leaves. But it's got a very Venusian flavor to it. So I even put some intention into my outfit with Venus in mind. I'm a Libra, Sun, Rising, Venus, and Mercury. Mega Libra stellium with planetary ruler there. I know Venus well. When Venus is in one of her signs of rulership, she's really happy. She's free to express her energy there. Venus in rulership is empowered, and that's affecting and influencing anything in the Venus-ruled signs, Taurus and Libra. So this 5-planet stellium and the south node in Libra. Venus in Libra in rulership is activating the benefits of the Sun, Moon, Jupiter, and Uranus, all also in the sign of Taurus. Venus has an opportunity to slow down in her home sign of Taurus, especially after a bit of an impatient, fiery, passionate, but kind of impulsive and rushed stint through Aries. Venus in Taurus can be very focused on things like the earth, environmental activism, getting outside, starting a fitness routine that involves some sort of walking, getting in touch with nature. This is usually the time of the year where I have the most flexibility in my schedule to go foraging. And I guess I have the most knowledge of things that can be harvested in May and where to find them in the state of Pennsylvania. But the rest of the year I tend to have a lot of traveling and other things that I'm Gemini juggling. But this is the time I can really honor it for Taurus season. We're also focused on our material assets and resources. Taurus and Venus rule our movable assets, like money. The sun, which represents the energy we're currently called to embody, is creating a spotlight of energy in Taurus. The moon, representing who we already are, and in a chart of the new moon or a full moon, the public. Uranus, the planet of sudden change, innovation, and revolution, influencing Pluto, while Pluto's in Aquarius. And finally, Jupiter, the planet of wisdom, luck, abundance, and expansion, further expanding that Taurus energy. Jupiter is still conjunct Uranus with a 3-degree orb. An orb is like a standard deviation, if you were able to survive statistics class. We're still amid a very powerful, once per every 14-year Jupiter Uranus Conjunction, which peaked between April 18th and April 26th, exacting twice, first at the 21st degree and then at the 22nd degree, with ripple effects lasting into May. We've been feeling the energy build since the planets came within a 5-degree orb, 5-degree standard deviation, from one another back on March 20th, around the vernal equinox. This brought a culmination to the prior Jupiter-Uranus cycle, and when Jupiter and Uranus conjoined a second time, first at the 21st degree, then the 22nd degree, the first time on April 20th and April 21st, the second time April 25th and April 26th, signifying a radical shift into new paradigms, or new ways of thinking and being, and how we attract them, Jupiter and Taurus. Jupiter in Taurus shows us the way. Do you remember the 5 rules of Jupiter in Taurus I had put out at the beginning of the Jupiter in Taurus 1-year transit? Be patient, pragmatic, practical, present, and confident. This is ultimately helping us shift out of lack mentality, out of any limiting beliefs, or any limiting ways of thinking. Jupiter, especially with regards to our finances or our relationships. Is there perhaps an opportunity where we could show more gratitude, and in so doing, attract more abundance? When Jupiter is in Taurus, growth, wisdom, and abundance are attracted, not chased. This is like a magnet for money. When this is in someone's natal chart, it indicates the capacity to build or establish profound wealth, not only for the self, but for the next generation. It also usually bestows significant talents in and a profound love for nature, whether that be through something like archery or foraging. Jupiter expands the energy of whatever sign it's traveling through. So this is expanding the Taurus energy and influence. Specifically, this 3rd decan of Taurus, where Uranus and Jupiter both currently reside, is subruled by Saturn, which has more of a Capricorn subflavor to its energy. Remember that first decan, that first 10 degrees, is purely Taurian under the influence of Venus. Then we add a secondary planetary ruler for the second decan from 10 degrees to 19 degrees, and that would be Venus sub Mercury, giving a Virgo subflavor to the Taurus energy. And then finally, that last final decan from 20 degrees to 29 degrees, where both Uranus and Jupiter currently are, both moving a little bit slowly, so they'll be there for some time for you to, by the time you see this video, to get used to the energy. Subruled by Saturn, planet of karma and restriction, and associating more of a Capricorn energy or subflavor. This decan specifically is associated with the constellation Perseus. And Jupiter is approaching conjunction with fixed star Algol, 26 degrees Taurus, the Gorgon's head, aka Medusa, who Perseus so famously slayed, if you're a Greek mythology nerd like myself. We have the Sun co-present in Taurus, and once Venus entered the sign of Taurus as well, in loose operative conjunction to the new moon, might I add, kicked this all up a notch. The benefits of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So yes, perhaps around that initial conjunction point, something very abrupt or sudden happened. We were thrown a big curveball. But ultimately, remember, Uranus isn't a bad guy. Uranus is the higher self. It's the higher mind. Those curveballs are intended to break you free from the shackles of complacency. It ultimately wants you to learn that change is the only constant. We ultimately don't have a tremendous amount of control other than how we react to the circumstances we're given. So we're reminded to be ever fluid and adapt to these changing circumstances. And that great strength can come in our ability to do so. So that sub-rulership of Saturn and the long-term sextiles Jupiter and Uranus are forming between Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, well, this is indicating that after the fallout of some sudden change that ultimately wants to break us free from the shackles of complacency, we are able to plant seeds of intention under the Taurus moon, laying the foundation for a more sustainable and benefic, with the energies we're seeing now with the second Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, future. Something much more sustainable for the long run. Something that fits our Pluto and Aquarius future, not our Pluto and Capricorn past. Saturn in Pisces, Jupiter in Taurus, especially sextile one another, indicating that they're working together. This indicates rewards and huge payoff. Uranus and Taurus can bring sudden gains or losses. This long-term sextile could indicate sudden gains, rewards coming in for consistent effort placed over time, for embodying the positive aspects of both Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Taurus. Make a dream a reality. Daily, small, consistent habits that make it real. You just do it. Uranus in Taurus brings innovation and change to Taurus things like money, banking, agriculture, cattle, our dependence on cattle as a food source, food in general, vegetables, anything grown of the earth, water, any of our resources, especially natural resources, and our control over them. Uranus seeks to guide us back into our individual power by understanding the natural and spiritual laws that govern us. We realize that we only get out of life what we're willing to put into it. We learn to adapt to change, and we find fresh ways to reestablish and reinvent ourselves with every obstacle or curveball. Once we learn to trust that that change is often for the better. Uranus was last in Taurus from 1934 to 1941, during the Great Depression, the time of the Great Dust Bowl, when money came, or around this time rather went, rather unexpectedly. This was a time period marked by sudden losses. Whenever the two align in the sign of Taurus, money can come from an unusual source or an unorthodox career, such as an astrologer on YouTube.